Welcome to Discover Janesville. My name is Yuri Rashkin, and today we are guests here at Basics. And Basics is also a sponsor of today's episode. My next guest is Al Hulick, who is a management analyst for the city of Janesville. Al, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thank you, Yuri. Thanks. Glad to be here.
So, Al, what does a management analyst know about sustainability?
Sure. It's a good question. Actually, I've been with the city now for 5 years, actually over 5 years. And when I started with the city, I started as a management intern when I was getting my master's degree in public administration. During that time, I spent about 2 years with the city in that capacity, and did a variety of tasks. Worked for pretty much almost every aspect of the city, from public safety to operations, to recreation, to community development, to economic development, and the city manager himself did special projects for all those people and just day-to-day tasks.
It's a good way to get to know the organization,
isn't it? It was a very, very good way, yeah. It was an invaluable experience, not only in this organization, but in any organization that could have that opportunity. It was an excellent opportunity. It gave me a good opportunity to get to know the city better than I had before, as well as the people that work in the city and the multiple tasks that goes into creating a municipal government. But through that position, once I received my master's in public administration, I was actually hired on full-time at the city of Janesville in a new position that was
They saw what you were capable of and said, we need
to keep
this guy.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, I hope that's what they thought. But they've kept me around this long, so I think I'm continuing to do what I'm supposed to do. But they hired me on full-time in a position called development specialist, and that was kind of a new position. It was kind of a hybrid position where it was this former city manager's idea to kind of create this position to put a generalist in the day-to-day operations of the organization. So I actually worked out of the community development department and did a lot of the current planning for the city of Janesville, as well as continuing to work for the city manager on special projects, and did a lot of economic development. And I think that's kind of where this concept kind of started to come together, or at least my role in this process. I've always had an interest in sustainability. I've always been tried to look towards that aspect when making decisions in life and in my profession and things like that. So it seemed like a natural fit. Shortly into that position, the former city manager Schaefer created, actually the city council created the Sustainable Janesville Committee, and the city manager asked for volunteers for that committee. Last I knew, I was the only volunteer, so it was kind of by default, but nonetheless, it was a good fit, and I think we had several conversations leading up to that point, and before, during, and after, and it was a good fit, and I'm glad it worked out that way. So I have served as the staff liaison now for the Sustainable Janesville Committee since its inception in August of 2008, so that has been an excellent experience. To bring it full circle, now I actually work in the city manager's office, so that, to get back to your original question, what does a management analyst know? That's how I got to where I'm at today. So I've had a variety of positions with the city, but always looked towards that sustainability aspect of it. It's always been an interest of mine and a passion of mine. So it really just worked together. It was really a hand-in-hand relationship between.
So now you're in a fourth floor there in the building, but
right.
You're also getting, how all the other departments are tied into this.
Yeah, actually, I mean, like I said, I worked for a lot of the departments, but I actually worked in a lot of departments. I spent 6 months out in operations. I spent a year in neighborhood services. I mean, I worked around, worked around the city, and it's a good background. I don't know if I'd be able to be as effective as in this capacity without having that background, and I think that it's suited. Myself personally, the organization, and hopefully the community very well.
Cool. As far as the Sustainability Committee or Sustainable Janesville Committee, how has that changed what we as a city, how we function?
That's a good question too. I think you'd get a mixed response from depending on who you ask. But in my opinion, since you're asking me, I think it's done good things. There may not be all the tangible things that everybody wants. But I think it's done a great job of bringing sustainability to the forefront of the decision-making process and to people's mindset when talking about projects and And it's not all just bricks and mortar and annexations and things like that. It's processes and it's policies, and it's how we conduct our day-to-day business. And it really was a good catalyst to bring that to the forefront of a lot of the organizational decisions and policies and practices. So overall, I think that was a good vehicle to get us moving in that direction.
Now, last year, the council passed a comprehensive plan that will outline our growth for the next 25 years at least. And there's a lot of language in there that's very sustainability friendly language. How do we make sure that it actually means something? That it's not just pretty language that makes a document sound good?
Yeah, and I think that's the difficulty that a lot of organizations, a lot of governmental units, local, state, even the national government itself struggles with. Because there's a difference between policy and a difference between policy and practice. And the comprehensive plan had a strong focus in sustainability. Like you said, there's a lot of language that's included in that document. But it really comes down to execution, implementation, and practice, and how we as an organization move forward with the guise of that comprehensive plan, how the council makes their decisions, how the plan commission makes their decisions, and it's really up to us to bring that document to life.
When you say us, who do you mean?
I think the community. I think it's important for the community to kind of hold the organization responsible to live up to that document, because it's a very comprehensive document, and I don't expect everybody to know the ins and outs of it. I mean, goodness knows I don't. It's a very comprehensive document. But when I say us, I think it's a community. It's the community that needs to kind of take that to task. And obviously as a council member yourself, and and other council members, you're kind of charged with that final decision-making process, but there's a lot that goes into it up to that. Obviously, the Plan Commission, if you continue to look at regulatory aspects of it, the Plan Commission has a good deal of influence on how that document is lived out. The Sustainable Committee certainly has and should continue to play a role, and maybe even a larger role than it has. Bring that citizen aspect into the plan to kind of make sure that everybody's living up to their end of the bargain. And then, obviously us as city staff members too. Often a lot of money is spent on consulting that, that good or bad, it gets press, good or bad. And it's up to us to continue to make sure that we live out that plan and make our decisions with that plan in mind, and move forward and kind of adhere to those principles that are out there. And also remember that it's just a plan that can be changed. It's a moving document, and that there can always be improvements made to it.